said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch, you filthy... Flyover State of Fear. Welcome back to Flyover State of Fear with myself and Brian. Brian, it has been a while. We were on a bit of a hiatus since the end of the summer, but I feel rejuvenated and ready to do
I'm bounced back. I hope
hundreds of
that
more episodes.
I hope that our 20 to 60 rabid fans have been,
You know what's hysterical?
haven't abandoned us.
You know what's hysterical? You know how we know we don't have any fans at all out there, other than when Yusuf-san and Alondra listens to that episode? No one ever reached out being like, hey, no new episode.
Hey, what happened? Where's the new episodes, guys? Nah.
Not
Nobody's
one. But it's still always fun to talk to you, so...
Absolutely. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Although, it is funny, we were just talking for like, what could have been another 2 hours just beforehand, because it's been a minute. And now we're talking again about this movie. I'm like, is it performative that we're just recording to make a content? No, it's not. We're actually here. We're here to discuss Good Boy. But since then,
No,
Brian,
we're on the cutting edge, man. This is a new release. We're in the
we're
thick
gonna
of
be
it.
back. We're gonna top the charts.
We're gonna take the horror world. You know what the world doesn't have enough of? Horror podcasts. So we are getting in the mix.
And you know what? We're not even on RSS feeds anymore.
No. But you know what? You know what I've noticed? A lot of RSS feeds they're going back to YouTube, and they're like, "Oh, we got a video component now," and everybody's pivoted to video again. That's like, I thought we'd realize that pivot to video wasn't the deal, but I don't know. So maybe they're going to come back.
I actually want to talk about that. Everyone being like, "Oh, the Netflix, the video of this," and then like it's like, nah. Although I do want to get back on RSS feeds. Apparently, that was just a lost thing. But it's been like, I remember I was talking to someone in this in our little like hiatus, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool with podcasts." Like, you haven't released an episode since like 2 years. What do you mean you have podcasts? I'm like, no. It's like it's like bi-weekly. It's frequent. It's a YouTube thing.
Yeah, I stay subscribed to our content, and it looks like October 2024 might have been the last time we dropped an episode.
That's when
it was a banger though. Late Night with the Devil.
That's on Yusuf. We'll get that fixed.
Why don't you produce me an RSS feed, baby?
We'll get that fixed.
Oh, I got a baby. I got one baby. I'm so overwhelmed. No, I don't believe it.
Or we'll just make a new account or something and upload starting in 2026.
We could just like it might just be a thing where we have to like pay the $10 a month, and we just aren't doing it.
I don't know. Well, welcome to a board meeting cost.
Listen, our loyal fan, please know we're gonna get this up and running for you, so that while you're at work, you can listen.
We're back. Your beard looks.
If you can't, you don't need to see us. We don't show clips. You can just listen.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's very funny.
We're perfect background, really.
Yeah. This is anyway. What are some things you'd like to highlight since we've last talked? And I really mean briefly in a highlight. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't want to. Obviously, it's been months since we've talked. So
no, we can't. There's no.
Probably watched. Obviously the Christmas season happened, and we watched all our classic Christmas horrors and our Christmas movies and all that.
Yeah.
I will mention one thing though that I just think was obviously the talk of the town was the Stranger Things finale came out. I didn't watch it. That damn show took too long. My son aged out. He doesn't give a shit anymore.
Guys, it was fine. My spiciest take on it all. It wasn't as bad as they're all saying. It was fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think people were primed up to hate it just because, first of all, finales of super popular shows never satisfy. No. You just can't do it. People are mad at Noah Schnapp and the weird Zionist stuff.
It was a crowd.
That element fused to it.
It was a crowd pleaser in the sense of like they just played it safe, but I will say, for long-time listeners, I like my trash teen dramas that are just like dog shit. Laura and I were like watching religiously Pretty Little Liars, trying a little horror content there. I mean, dumb as rock show, very fun. But towards the end of it, I mean, you want to talk about plot holes and like timelines that don't make sense. And truly, like, I mean, 2.5 seasons are just supposed to be a single month in November, and people get shot, become cops in a day, and are magically recovered. And that's not like a hyperbole. This is, and its finale is like bonkers in the sense where it's like you could tell they just made something up the last day because someone appears and it's like it's a classic like evil twin trope. And it's so funny. So we watched that. We're like, what the fuck was that finale? And then the next 2 days later, like we did all of Stranger Things after it was done, like the last season
Sure.
after it was
Waited
done.
and just like binge like it God intended.
Yeah, we just binge all season five because we were watching Pretty Liars the whole other time. When I tell you, I think that's why our opinions of Stranger Things were
The
like,
bar had been lowered to the floor.
oh, I'm not serious. I've told this like every time. I'm like, oh, like that's why because I just watched it and this is like a coherent like that's a bare minimum to just be coherent. I was like,
Yeah.
they had a couple issues here or there, some sloppy writing. Sure. Did I have a nice time?
Overall, fine.
Sure. But I understand fair criticisms of the show. I
Sure.
don't understand the rabbit people who are just like idiots who have never watched TV before. And it's like, did you think this was going to cure cancer?
Right. Um, with all of that to say that I did watch It Welcome to Derry on HBO Max. I actually have watched through it twice now because I watched
Mm.
it with my wife and then I watched it with Harrison. Um, Surprisingly good, like
Mhm.
shockingly good.
I need to watch it.
If you heard the premise online, well, the premise kind of leaked a little while ahead of the show, and I was as skeptical as anyone. It's kind of you got that Jurassic World element where they're like the government's here and they're gonna find Pennywise and try to
Mhm.
weaponize Pennywise, and you're like, wow, that sounds stupid, but okay. The way it was done was very cool, very interesting. They wove in like the native community and stuff that we know
Interesting. I
are,
did not know
in the
any of
books.
that.
And they had and one of the major characters is Dick Halloran from The Shining. He's like one of the military's basically using his shining powers to find these things related to Pennywise, and you've got new groups of kids. And if Stranger Things didn't scratch the itch of seeing some children get murdered, this show might have something for you.
I know I need to check it out.
And
That's,
they take their time. They don't jam Pennywise on in the first episode. You do have to like they kind of
wait,
ease
yeah.
into it. But there's other cool stuff in it too. They don't just because it's not Pennywise, they're still doing scares, they're still doing, crazy stuff.
Are
It
we,
was a good show, and it's like 8 episodes, so it's
okay.
not too much of an ask. And
Are they getting, is this like not doing a Stranger Things in the sense like you're gonna get a new season next year?
again, I don't know if we've heard that it's 100% getting a second season yet. They definitely leave it open for a second season. Like unlike Alien Earth that felt like a cliffhanger ending, which
Uh-huh.
good show also. We didn't talk about that, but that's a great show. But it did disappointingly end on a cliffhanger. This show has a complete story, but they do
Oh, it is a
kind of
complete
hint
story.
hint at uh they kind of hint at other,
Okay, I didn't.
Pennywise shows up every 27 years, so you have several different timelines. This one kind of exists mostly in the 60s, so
Mhm.
you have other areas to move around to if you
Gotcha. I
want.
didn't realize it was a mini series essentially.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's like an 8 episode mini series, and like I said, it's definitely a television show in the fact that there's things that can continue or whatever. But if it only was this one season, you wouldn't be unsatisfied. It wouldn't leave anything hanging too much.
Hmm.
It's
Definitely.
from the same team who did the movies, and obviously Bill Skarsgård's back, and he's great as Pennywise and stuff. So
You're gonna watch it. I got to watch it. My yawn does not insigniate abortive what you're saying. It was a true yawn.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. No, no.
I gotta watch
And
it.
then yeah, outside of that, like I said, I nothing so memorable that we need to spend more
No,
time
nothing
on it, you
really
know.
like that. I was thinking about this leading up to a recording. Nothing really, I would say from the end of the summer to then, other than like you said, like Welcome to Derry. Maybe I think nothing really was like clamoring hit over the head where I was like in the horror world where I was like, this is the picture.
There was a lot of movies that people liked more than I did. A lot of people really loved Weapons. I
Oh,
didn't.
so I really liked Weapons a lot. It
Yeah,
made my
I thought Weapons
best.
was okay. I thought Weapons is a very well
Yeah,
made movie. It just didn't like, it
oh,
didn't bang with me the same way like Barbarian
I really
did.
liked Weapons. I've watched it twice. I got the had Amazon sale. It was one of the movies like, oh shit, you're available for $11? Yeah, I'm gonna take
Yeah,
that.
it's like fun.
And and then like I guess the two ones at the same time were like that and Bring Her Back. I thought Bring Her Back was good, but it had that thing where
I liked Bring Her Back a little bit better
and Bring
than
Her Back
Weapons.
was a little more
Similar
like
similar vibes though, like kind of
yeah,
witch
I
movies
would say it's more
almost.
sad. It's just more of a sad movie.
Oh yeah, well, Bring Her
That's
Back's
one.
from the Talk to Me guys, and they make a
Yeah.
brutal movie.
Yeah, it's
Those guys
brutal.
make a
The
rough
the
one.
knife eating was
Oh, the
too
knife in the
much.
mouth thing is.
Um,
Whew.
but that was one way I watched, and I'm more sad. And even I mean, Weapons is poppy fun, right? I mean, there's a couple creepy
Yeah,
scenes.
yeah, and maybe that's the thing too. But it's also trying to be about school shootings and stuff. So it's not exact. It's not all pop fun. It's kind of
Well,
got
it
that.
is, but it isn't. It's so abstract.
Yeah,
Even Zach Krieger even talking about it, he's very like, "Do you think it is? I don't know." So
come on,
like,
man, you got a hovering AK-47 in the sky.
yeah. Although I will say, I put it on the other night, and I remember like truly the theater, not no creeped out at all. I guess late at night in my own home before like bed, the ankletus, like the early scenes, like any like for me, any sort of like bedroom late at night, like
Oh yeah,
creepery, and I'm alone and it's late and it's lights
sure.
are. It will affect me in the sense where I'm like, that was a little creepy for me, and then it'd be like, all right, time to go to bed. Because like inherently not creep, like it's very easy to go, that's not scary, and it isn't. There's something about like the first scene of her in the bedroom. I was like, oh, I'm gonna finish watching this, but that's a little creepy at home.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, overall, I was saying like I thought 2025 was a little bit of a weak year for horror. Like I think we
there
had a
was a
banger year
lot.
in 2024.
I think there was just a
2025 was a little not a lot of like super big hitters, you know?
there was just a lot of. That's all it was, right? I just did a quick.
Yeah.
It was like Bring Her Back. We both really liked Together.
Yeah, Together was good.
Like 28 years later, I know people really big
That was one
fans
I
of.
wish I would have seen it sooner. Like I didn't get
Same.
to see it in the theater, and it took a long time for me to get to it because I haven't had Netflix, and that's
Mhm.
where it was streaming. So when I finally watched it, I
Actually,
really liked it. And now I'm doing the same thing. I'm not going to get to see Bone Temple in the theater probably,
mm,
and I'm going to regret that.
mm. Oh, I guess in the big one, yeah, the people really liking that Bone Temple. I guess another big one too, but I think we did talk about it with Sinners.
Yeah, that was early
Um,
enough in the year. We probably talked about
yeah,
it.
like a lot of the horror happened early in the year. The good, I should say good horror. Final Destination Bloodlines.
I loved Final
Um,
Destination Bloodlines, of
I
course.
did not see Black Phone 2 yet.
You know what? I just watched that. A little underwhelming, and that's kind
Mhm.
of what I heard too. Was like, I don't know. I think a lot of people were kind of excited at the prospect of like, okay, we're gonna make the grabber into like a Freddy Krueger, and we're gonna kind of
Yeah,
like take a next step. And I don't think it quite gets
doesn't do
there,
that.
and I think it's a little
Okay.
disappointing.
It sounds it. I'm gonna check it out.
It's not
Uh,
bad. It's not bad, but honestly, it's kind of the way I felt about the first Black Phone, which was like, yeah, this is fine. I
mhm.
didn't like blow my skirt up. It was like a solid movie.
Gotcha.
Solid like kind of like a pop horror, like a Conjuring
Yeah.
movie.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that
Yeah.
vibe. Oh, I saw the new Conjuring this past year.
The fourth one much better than the third one.
It was. I was like, wow, I like this fourth one a lot.
It
It's
took a lot. You know what? I really wish there really feels like there's a real element of like, oh, the daughter owns the rights now and wants it to be in the movie. Like, I
she
was like,
wants to be a
what is she
superhero.
doing, man? This movie's like way too long. Get her out of here. Like,
She wants to be a hero. That's all it felt like. So the
yeah. Well, and it's like either okay, or either focus on the daughter or do the young Warrens, which seems like what they want to do is like start moving
it's
into like a
so
new cast of young Warrens.
it's so successful. They're gonna try both in
Yeah.
some capacity.
Which
Either
okay, here's a question for our audience. Which one's going to be a movie and which one's going to be a show?
okay, I'm gonna answer it because once again we don't have an audience. Uh Young, I'm gonna say the daughter is a show.
Okay.
No. I take that back.
See, I was going to say I would
Young
flip it. I think
Warren's
daughter movie,
Young Warren's a
Young Warrens is
show,
a show.
and I think daughter is movie, but it's sold as like The Conjuring continue, like whatever the haunting name is, like the devil made me do it or whatever. It'll
Yeah.
just be that, like a Conjuring tale, and it'll just start off of like here's Bethany Warren. I forget her name.
Yeah, I forget her name too.
And like I don't think they're gonna sell it on here's the daughter. I think they just sell it on the story and it's the daughter. Because
All
let's
right,
be real.
okay. All right.
Let's be real. You're gonna recast those two roles for the spinoff with like lead like viable lead actors.
Right, like they had people, but that's the thing. I think if you take it to TV, you could probably use the people they cast as the young Warrens in the
And that's
new
why you
movie
use young
because,
Warrants. But I'm talking
yeah.
about daughter. I'm talking about the daughter
Oh,
from the
well, yeah. If you're
movie.
trying to make a movie out of it, you got to cast bankable stars.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta at least one. We replaced we replaced the son-in-law with Jesse Plemons.
yeah, yeah,
Nice young Jesse Plemons. I love
yeah.
Jesse Plemons.
I was watching Begonia, and which I thought was really good.
That
I
was
really like
great, yeah.
Begonia a lot. But there is an element of like, how old am I supposed to think Jesse Plemons is in this movie? Because
Because he's
I feel like you're trying to get me to think he's like in his early 20s, and he is clearly a 40-year-old man.
well, it's the same thing going on with who I like. I know you watched it recently or not. It's the same thing with like uh Glenn Powell, where it's like that's a that's a man at least in his late 30s, not a young 20-year-old star as like
Yeah,
he's being pushed out to be. Like I watched his Chad Powers like Hulu show based off that Eli Manning sketch thing commercial where they did. He's pretending to be like a college football
yeah.
quarterback.
I heard something about it, but I didn't watch
They
it.
make it they make it work. It's enjoyable enough to be quite honest with you. Steve Zahn, but I'm like, you didn't you're not 2 years removed from college, my guy.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a couple jokes about it in there. Anyway, before we do get to the last movie of 2025 was Good Boy, I do want to mention the biggest shit from a butt movie of the year because I did pull up this year's list and realized I watched a lot more of them than I him. Him was fucking atrocious.
Okay, I watched him also. I him was
Shit from a butt, dude.
him to me. Him was like it's like a starter elevated horror for a dumb guy, like
So
a
Marlon
dude bro,
Wayans.
like a dude bro, you know, who like who's watching a football movie. He
He's
might
like,
watch
that's
him
deep.
and it might like whet his palate for something better. You know, he goes into him because he just wants to watch a football movie and he's like, yeah, rad. And then this kind of like what so like I don't
But
think him
wouldn't
is
it be
good, but I do think
better?
him could serve a purpose, you
But
know?
wouldn't him be better if it was just a creepy football movie? Because they don't really do anything with that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't know.
It's
I
not
think they
good.
just got out of I think more than anything they just got out over their skis with like tying in the kind of like I think sports are cultish enough. You didn't need to make it an actual satanic cult in the end. Like, you
It
know,
just
sorry,
wasn't.
spoiler alert for him.
Oh yeah. Oh, It wasn't good. Talking about shit that's not good. I went to the theaters to see this, and just funny, it popped up on this Google search. It was me and one older couple, probably for the 2 days it was in theaters. And I mean, like old. It was confusing. They must have thought it was a religion, it was the Carpenter's son. It was that Nick Cage.
Oh no, I have no idea what
Oh my
this is.
God. It's basically the Teen Just joke
Oh, is
from,
it?
because it's
From
young.
Baby Bill, Uncle Baby
Yeah,
Billy?
it's because it's young. It's like creep. It's trying to be an elevated horror. Like it's
Hmm.
shot in the like they clearly went to like Afghanistan or something to shoot, or like a Middle Eastern country. And Cage is all right in it. He's fine. He's playing Joseph. They don't use anyone's names, by the way, but it's clearly a religious carpenter's son.
I got you.
About him being a real strict father who knows his son is has powers, but is like, you can't do this and you can't do this. And it just more develops like, oh, so this kid just has superheroes.
Yeah.
And like this little village
It's
that
like
are
it's like Pa Kent in the Man of Steel, where he's like, "You can't use your powers, son."
kind of. And it's fine. I mean, like it was like walked out being like, it was all right, but it has a good trailer.
Yeah.
That's the first bad sign of a movie. And I wasn't expecting much, to be quite, but it was also there's some good stuff. Like they use this like very like androgynous little kid that Jesus ends up talking to be like the clear representation of like the devil and all, and like that shit
Yeah.
kind of works well. But and like Nick Cage is very out of place playing Joseph because like he's trying to do some sort of accent, but it's just in and out. And
Incredible stuff.
he's also 40 years older than the man should be to have like a 16-year-old
Sure. You
boy.
shouldn't have like a child that age.
But
Yeah.
it literally straight up turns up to like teen just like more towards the end of it.
Did you watch, speaking of Nick Cage, and we're just going off topic, we're just going crazy here. Did you watch last year, did you watch Arcadian
Yeah.
with the kind of like Quiet
Yeah, I did. With the
Place-ish?
boy, he had like the
Yeah.
sons. That
Yeah, with
also was kind of
the
shit from
weird chattery
ass.
monsters. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Bad
it was
CG.
an interesting one.
Yeah, some real bad CGI.
Yeah. I
All right.
like the thing is the monsters were interesting, but the CGI was too bad.
It was
Like it
real
made them
bad.
too cheesy. Um, all right, let's get to
All
Good
right,
Boy.
let's
Let's talk
get to
about
Good Boy.
2025 Good Boy.
I like
Um, I don't know if people know about Good Boy. Do people know about Good Boy?
I think some well, there's like five movies called
It
Good
got a
Boy.
lot of play because it's a little bit of a gimmick, right? You know, it's a little bit
Well,
of a
we
gimmick.
both I think wanted to talk about it because we were like, all right, we want to come back and do the show. This is a good excuse to watch Good Boy. That was kind of, I think, the real. It was like it's gimmicky. Oh, it's gimmick. It's a gimmick done right.
Right. Well,
Um,
immediately I thought about we did last year one of my faves we did In a Violent Nature. And a very similar vibe of
dog.
like
I not no pun intended. I literally was just I was gonna bring up In a Violent Nature because it's all I could think about watching this movie.
right because essentially doing the same thing like you're picking up all your information passively, you know, you're getting plot points but you have to like kind of be paying attention. You know,
Well,
it's all done.
so I was really thrilled. It was a little more, it was a little easier focused of than a Violent Nature. I like the Violent Nature more, I think, actually. But I
Well, I think
was
In a
also
Violent Nature is like we can get
I
to
was
yeah, I
also
think In a Violent
expecting
Nature has a little more meat on the bone, you
I
know,
was
than
all
Good Boy
yeah,
does, but
I was also expecting this movie because I only knew about the dog thing and what how people spoke about it. I was expecting it to be more like Skinamarink, like a lo-fi like almost
oh,
analog
like
horror, like a POV of a dog, like kind of a dog really, and like that's it.
mhm,
And I was like, because those are hard to get
yeah,
roped into, for
sure.
myself at least. And I was really happy it wasn't that, because some of the way some
Yeah.
people talked about it was like, it's a Skinamarink. you're gonna love how big of a risk they're taking. Watch them like, oh no, I could easily
No, it's
follow along. There's a
no,
narrative
it's a
here.
pretty yeah, it's a pretty like narrative structure, like it's pretty.
Because it was described as like,
I mean, it's got like the sister is basically an exposition machine to keep you moving. You know what I mean? Like anytime you might kind of get loose focus of what the movie's trying to do, she calls and pops in, and then he scolds her for quick coming into the movie and doing exposition.
why would you say that? Don't come around here. I do like this movie. The big thing about it was the most searched. Like, does the dog die? Like, people were like, and
Oh
they
yeah,
even put it out. They're like,
yeah.
he
We
doesn't. They're like, you go to the movie, he doesn't
no,
die. Like,
and but they do, and we'll talk about it as we get into it. But they do a thing here where it's like it's almost like they knew that was going to be part of it, and they had to have something loaded up for that, and they do.
yeah.
And like,
So
uh,
Indy's a star. Indy's the name of the dog. Honestly, this movie is more of a long episode of TV, a special episode of television than a movie
yeah,
in just in length. Um,
yeah. I think we're coming in just at maybe 80 minutes with credits. Like,
73.
oh wow. Um, and also, what I have noted here right at the very top is this movie functions as kind of an editing exercise. Really, if you know anything about, if you heard anybody talk about film school or something, they might talk about how like there's this editing exercise where it's like the pictures of a man's face, and then like you learn how to the way you edit things around. There'll just be a blank dude's face staring straight ahead, but like you edit that together with a roasting turkey leg, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, the man's starving. You edit it
Yeah,
together with a tombstone, and now it's like, oh, he's grieving. You know what I mean? It's all about, and that's what this is. You just film a dog's face for as long as you need to,
but
and then you
that's
play the right music,
I
and
like
you do the right shots to like fill in around him,
so
and
the filmmakers are uh, are very transparent to say the least with like
oh
what
sure.
they're doing, and they were like because they're getting acclaim. They've gone to these award shows and things. And they're like, no, 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 no. Indy doesn't know he was in a movie. He's like obedient, but he's not this actor. He's not an
He's not an
actor
actor
dog.
dog. We just like over and over and over
Yeah,
again, like did things with him until we got what we needed.
Ben Leonberg. Which and it's his dog, and and that's all it was. We just
And
had
is
a
he playing the
scenario.
lead too? Is he the guy?
Yeah,
Because you would
no,
think that no,
no,
because you would think it would
Shane
be easier to
Jensen.
have like because they don't really need an actor to play the guy because he's barely on camera.
No, and I
You
like
know,
what they did with him too. They made him faceless, so you're like the lead is Indy. Like the lead is the
well
dog.
until and then like when they reveal his face, that it's important in the movie. Like
Hmm.
you do eventually see his face, and but it's at a point like where there's a reveal happening that's not just his face. So it's a good use of that. I just wondered because I just thought it might be easier if the actor was also the dog owner to
No,
like control the dog,
I was wondering that myself. I thought it was, but no, no, no. It's a
or maybe it like a lot of times that's when you don't see his face. It is the guy, and then they
it
just hire an actor for the
probably. I
end. His
mean,
face. Yeah.
probably
um,
right.
but yeah, I mean, this is like I said, it's definitely an interesting
Is it tight?
premise. I always love a good, you know, we talked about it, and you were just saying too. Not only are there God, unnamed number of horror movies, but also like any idea that's been done another way has also been done as a horror movie. You've
Hmm.
had every kind of western and historical epic and superhero movie, and this that has also been converted to horror. So to see an idea I've never seen before is
No, and
rare.
it's better than the two other movies named Good Boy.
Ooh, what are the other movies
So
named Good
actually, I
Boy?
can't say this. I'm just assuming one's like a good. So there's one other horror. There's two other horror. One is like one of those Hulu After Dark. Or remember they did like Beyond the
Oh,
Dark
Into
or
the Dark
Into
or
the
something like
Dark
that.
called Good Boy with Judy Greer, and it's very much like it's not bad. It's like I watched it late one night a couple years ago. It's more like the poor man's version of Night Bitch, like a internal
Oh,
story of
okay.
like I forget it was a depression or feminine like womanhood, and it's very like Night Bitch.
Yeah.
Like her, like a dog is killing people around. Her dog she adopted is killing people around, and it's quirky. It's Judy Greer. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's I'll leave it at
Sure.
it's fine.
It's fine.
But then there's another one, which I haven't seen, but that is about like it looks creepier. That's like a guy in a that is a guy in a pup costume.
Oh.
Like
Like one
a
of those S&M style ones?
kind of, yes, but more like realistic looking.
Okay, okay.
And what? Because now this one is called Good Boy. It's hard to get that Good Boy. 2022. That one is like a millionaire dating app, and he's like, keep an open mind and have a relationship with me as a dog. And you can just tell from the screen, it's also an hour.
This it feels like something born out of 50 Shades, like
Ish. Yeah, it kind of looks
yeah.
creepy from the screen, but it looks even more low budget. It's Norwegian.
Mm.
But it's a guy in like a puppy costume. And I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to watching it,
Yeah.
but so this is the best. I'm just gonna call it with here without saying it, without actually seeing it. It's definitely the best Good Boy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
Um, but yeah, we all like Judy Greer, so give that a watch if
That's
you're.
true. Yeah, can't nothing against Judy Greer. I always love Judy Greer.
But oh man, this is when I found myself like, it was interesting. I was very surprised to see the the dog sees, like we see the dog seeing the supernatural around him. So like the premise is, I mean, because guys, there's not much here to really like go beat by beat and through it is
I mean, we could, yeah, you could tear down every scene, but there's honestly,
it's
there's a little bit for a movie that's under 90 minutes. They still are kind of stretching in points.
I
There's
was
a lot
bored a
of like
little
the
bit.
dog sees something. Oh no, it doesn't. It's just a shadow. They
I
do that
was
quite a few times,
I
but
was
but honestly, it's directed well enough and the tension works. I think it's not
I
like
was bored.
distracting.
I was bored a little bit midway through it, I'll be honest. I remember seeing someone review it or like tweet review it or something, and they're like, "Oh, guys," kind of what you said. They're like, the advertising is off. This isn't trying to be this like hard horror movie of this like he's
No,
experienced
I
a
never really, and I
zombie.
didn't expect that.
He's experienced it's a dog experience what his owner's going through a zombie like right. That's the sell. Through like a zombie apocalypse. And I remember seeing one thing. I was like, it's not that. It's this camera experiment and it works. And he's like the dog's endearing to watch. We all like a good boy.
Yeah. If you want, if people want something that maybe a little bit more substantive than this, but similar vein. Did you watch Presence?
Oh
Was
yes.
that was good?
Go point of view of a
That was pretty
ghost.
good. Yeah, where basically you're in the point of view of the spirit,
Hey,
and there's a
they
little bit of a
filmed
like time experiment thing going on with
Sandra
that
Oh.
one too, and like it's.
They
I thought it
filmed
was pretty
that.
solid.
They filmed that in my hometown.
Oh, did they?
They used the house in my hometown.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. I thought it definitely worth a watch for people. But yeah, um, so yeah, basic premise is we see a guy. We see the montage of like him, the puppy and the guy, and the guy's obviously been through treatment. He had cancer or something. They're not super specific about it, but he was sick. Um, but the opening scene is him kind of like hunched over, looking kind of sickly, blood out of his mouth, and it's very creepy. And then we have the little montage, and then after that, we find that the guy has moved out. He's on the phone with his sister, telling her how he's going out to Grandpa's place,
He
to
moved to his
stay. Like
cabin.
he's moving out of the city. He doesn't want to be in the city anymore, or whatever. Um, and of course, she's all, "Why would you go to Grandpa's place?" And again, we talk a little bit about Vera, his sister, who's a little bit of an exposition machine, and she's on the phone. She's asking, she's doing the wait, you're catching again, that's an inviolate nature style. So you're catching little things where she's like, did it come back? And he
Hmm.
doesn't want to talk about it. He's not interested in that. And they're, he's just moving out to grandpa's house. Or she's asking about grandpa and they're talking, and there you get that nobody's lived there for more than a couple months since grandpa died, which is weird that anybody who's lived there at all, because it seems like most of grandpa's stuff is still there. So
Yeah. And it's I think all of Grandpa's stuff is still there. It
Yeah,
isn't
it really
cleared
does.
out.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she meant before Grandpa, or I guess
Maybe.
you do hear Grandpa does say something on one of his videos about how the house has been in the family. So maybe it just
Yeah.
passed around to different members before Grandpa moved
Yeah,
in there or something.
and like starts alluding to like, okay, the house might be a little haunted by Grandpa and his former dog.
Yeah, we have a you have a cemetery on the property where like a lot of family members are supposedly buried. He makes mention of a lot of them died young,
Hmm.
which is, not necessarily prudent, but interesting enough. It gives you the impression that just death is around this house. And like you talked about, Indy is seeing shadows in the shape of people,
Mhm.
occasionally, or thinks he is, but he's not, and he's doing his dog thing where he's staring, being
Yeah,
very
I did
adorable. It's a
like
very
that.
cute dog.
I did like that that mix to it where we were seeing dogs the dogs like seeing things and not just fully only being like, oh, he's reacting to a thing. There's some
That we're not, yeah, like
monsterness.
he's like not. They weren't doing it Invisible Man style where
Yeah.
we just have to imply that something's there.
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, okay, there's it sounds weird. A little bit of a production more than just let's act
Mhm.
around the dog and react have the dog react.
Yeah. Um. We. He's. There's a lot of like I said, like it's just pretty loose, and it's mostly a lot of just kind of suspense. I can see why people did the Skinamarink thing comparison because it is a kind of a vibes movie, but
Definitely.
definitely is more plot driven than something like Skinamarink. We he's it's not really a lot to like. I have it structured out here looking at it, but I'm like, what do you need to talk about? He's like hearing whining in the basement. The owner mentions a weird smell, you know. Um,
Well, the whining in
I
the
do
basement
like
is
when I do have to say I did like when they walked through the family graveyard. I'm a person who's my grandparents have a graveyard on their property.
oh
Not my
really?
family graveyard. It's actually like a Civil War graveyard, and it has a bunch of the people that the road they live on is named after. They're
That's
called the
crazy.
Cacklers. So I used to go up there and stuff. So I
Any
don't know. I vibe with that. That was interesting. I thought that was interesting.
any hauntings experience? Any
No, I've never experienced anything, unfortunately, and I'm open to it.
your
Or
grandma
maybe I'm
ever
not.
say
Maybe
any
that's the problem.
your grandma ever say anything?
No,
No.
no. I do like again. Like I feel like if if like a ghost came into her house, she would just like shoo him away. You know what I mean? Like she would probably
Get
like
out.
say something kind of like a little racist to them or something.
This is grandma. We
Grandma
all
stuff.
we were definitely never going to. It was definitely never going to convince my wife. We looked at a house, two houses, and they were on the opposite sides of this huge graveyard. But one was truly this like beautiful home, and it was just unfortunate where you could tell it's clearly there's some other stuff with the house. I was like, it was a bad flip job, like everything in this
Yeah.
world. But you were like you'd be at breakfast, and we would have been like looking into an old ass grave side. And it would have been like
Yeah.
that would have been hard to get used to.
Especially if like I don't know if it's all filled in, no worries, but like if there's an actual funeral going
Oh
on,
well,
it's like,
that's the
oh,
second one. So the second one, like literally a week later, it's on the other side. And when I say side, I mean this is like far away, but it's clearly the
sure, sure.
same. And it's already like one thing wrong because it's on a kind of a busy road. We didn't want to live on a busy road, but this home is beautiful, taken care of, fairly within our budget, or like at least worth something to put an offer. But man, the other thing, the backyard was you could see they had the new plots laid it out where it was going to be. I'm like, can't
Mhm.
do that. I can't believe like, oh, we put our Halloween skeleton, 8 foot, 12 foot Halloween skeleton out. Nope, nope, it's peering over into the graveyard. Someone grieving their,
Someone's
um,
grieving their dead child, and I got my 12
yeah,
foot skeleton over here.
yeah. Like I said, we were never serious, but that was like I would say like the home that we had like the best work done to it, but like personality still, and like real looker.
Yeah.
And it was so like, oh, we can't. I mean, multiple reasons, but yeah. But a graveyard in the woods, though, is such a different vibe than like a grave. Like,
Yeah. At my grandparents' house, it's kind of away from the house. It's a small, like I said, it's a Civil War graveyard, so it's real
mhm,
small. It's, probably like, I don't know, 20 graves or something
mhm.
like that, but it's just kind of up on a hill in a little grove of trees, and the, a lot of the, it's classic. A lot of the stones are real run down and old and kind of worn, and it was a cool
From the
place
Civil
to
War.
go. I still honestly, when like me and Sarah will still walk up there sometimes if we go to visit my grandma.
Nice.
But
Um,
while they're out on their walk, they're exploring around. Like I said, I don't want to be I don't want to be to rush, but there is a lot of scenes of Indy's being spooked by things, Indy's hearing noises, Indy's investigating and walking around and hearing and seeing, and so I just want to get to when they're out on their walk, we get our first fake out from the ghost, the shadow man we've been thinking we're seeing, which is the neighbor out hunting in his ghillie suit, which I
mhm.
thought is a pretty good fake out because the way it
It
comes
was
up behind
creepy. It
Indy is creepy,
was
absolutely.
creepy.
And we also
And
get our Chekhov's fox snare, which they mention like just two or enough times so that when it happens, you know what it is. The guy keeps being like, "Hey, watch out!
I
It's
was gonna
fox season.
say,
I put snares out here." And
yeah.
then the next time you see him, he mentions it again, and then
And he
he
keeps
gets
saying
caught in a snare.
the fox traps, yeah. He mentions it so much. I'm like, oh well, we know what's gonna happen a little later.
But then, and maybe I don't know if this is a criticism of the movie or not. When Indy does get caught in the fox snare, eventually something comes to grab him, and I feel like the payoff of that was that the hunt, the neighbor would bring him to the house and be like, "Here, the dog was in the snare. It's all muddy and dirty, but one last scare out of that, and we'd be done with it." But it's a thing where, like, I think we see the guy go to grab Indy, and then it cuts away, and then Indy's just back at the
Yeah, we never
house.
really see anything about it
Yeah, and that was a little. I remember that was a little jarring. I was like, "That's a little weird."
because that was also when like Todd was at like peak hysteria.
Right. Like, we can talk about turns out Vera was right to worry. It very much is coming back.
And
Todd is
like,
like trying to
well,
give Indy a bath and like coughs a huge hocker of blood right
but
in
he
his
also
face.
but he also might be going through also sort of some sort of like zombie-ish thing with him
Well,
like
that's the thing. I think the movie is trying to kind of play with you and make you wonder about that. Like, is there something in the house
I think it's in a house because it's like
affecting him?
you
Is
see
there an
the
entity that's affecting him?
I think it's
I
the house and entity
personally
because you see the
land
grandpa and the dog and all of that, and like it's him hitting his head on the wall. That got me.
Yeah, that part was weird, but they did play it just kind of like sleepwalking, like when he woke up from it, he was just kind of like fine and what I mean, seemed a little put out by it, but again, I think that's the whole point of the movie is to like I think they gave him the illness so that they could do this and keep you guessing,
Hmm.
right? Um we can talk about what we think in the final when we get around to the end here. It won't take us too long. Um
Well,
uh
right now I think our pod is longer than the movie.
well that hey, you know what? It's okay. That's all right. Um Indy dreams maybe question mark
He
of
does.
the preview of Grandpa's dog Bandit.
Yeah, I think that was a
Um
full dream. I think it
it's
was.
both. I think it's both. I think he has a dream and I think later he sees Bandit
We see.
too.
Yeah, I think what we see with Indy is kind of what's going on for Indy. Like when he sees
Yeah.
Bandit, that's what leads him to go down into the basement.
Yeah. Um there's a good scare where he finds Bandit's bandana under the cabinet. That's a pretty good one. And he's like reaching, he's like trying to reach it and smell it, and he basically gets like a sense memory off of the bandana and like kind of has a bit of a freak out.
Yeah. What did you think of a little towards the end there? The another like scare, but it was I think the least earned one was when Todd pulls him into the bed
Yeah, and
and
just
then
like
he
hugs him
bites.
too hard.
Yeah, and then there's like kind of a shadow. He's all like dark behind him, like trying to zombify it and grabs him and he bites his arm, but he's fine. He's just dying.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I think it was, yeah, it was, it's effective, but it's not.
It's really the story.
I think they're getting a lot of mileage out of the fact that it's easy to sympathize with a dog. So no matter what, like even though Todd's like probably like dying a horrible, painful cancer death, and he can't get treatment
Well, yeah,
and stuff, we're still like feeling, and like yeah, he feels like shit. He doesn't want the dog in his face, so he yelled at the dog. But like we're like, oh poor Indy, you know?
just get away. And he's like, I'm just trying to help, dog. I will say, I think it is like, yeah, he brings Indy to the doctor for the clinical trial,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
which is like you wouldn't do that.
And and of course the doctor. Yeah, I did like that scene. It was kind of just like the doctor being like, it gave us a look into Todd also of maybe not being the wisest with his decisions
Well, I think like yeah, I
because
think
it
Todd
was
was in
like
denial,
just
right?
being
Like
like, no, 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 we offered you a thing. You're too late. It doesn't work that
yeah.
way, which is
Yeah,
unfortunately
I think
true.
Todd's in denial. I think the idea is like we see him in the first scene is like his first little moment of relapse, and then they show us the montage of like that he had been sick before, and then him going out to the country is like he just is like I need to get away. Like I feel like he's like running from it, you know, is the
Hmm.
idea.
Yeah.
Um and then yeah, by the time he like grapples with it, it's too late. But
Because
we
if they
also see
didn't,
through Grandpa's videos that Grandpa and she said, and I think Vera in one of her exposition dumps also mentioned that he just like rotted away up there. He maybe was sick and just never got treated and
that's why
just
I think
died.
that's why I
Also,
think it's almost more of a haunted house movie
yeah. Well, and
than.
that's and like I said, we'll get into it as we get to the end. Um, let's see. You know, yeah, he's again, he's like I do like one thing I wanted to mention. There's a part where like we're getting more noises at night, and Indy makes his first real like chuff noise, and he like
Mm.
and starts
What?
to bark.
Yeah.
And like I think it's important. I don't know if people if this is the thing, but like if you have a quiet dog, which Indy very much is, he doesn't very make very much noise,
Uh,
and that's how my dog is. When they
okay.
bark, like it means something. You're always like, oh shit,
Well,
he fucking barked. That's no joke. Like
and it's yeah. Oh my God, absolutely. And it's important in the move.
yeah.
Like it's like he only. I generally think it's only that one time we really hear Indy, maybe twice.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I mean,
he's
I think near
quiet,
the end, like when it's getting like into your climax, maybe he makes a little bit more noise. But like
but
the first time he really like, you know, yeah, makes
and
a
it's a
noise.
and
It
it's
feels, yeah.
it's a soft like I don't know. We assume that is what Indy sounds like, right? Like
Oh yeah,
it's a
yeah,
soft sounding bark too. It's not like a "Hurr." It's a "Hurr." It's a very
yeah.
um
It's a bark of concern.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, what a dog. What a because he's won a couple some awards over some humans.
yeah. He won like a Saturn Award or something, didn't he?
I think it's a Saturn or it's one of those horror awards specifically, and they're genderless. And someone's like, of course, the dog we our only genderless award, and the dog beat everyone out.
Yeah, makes
Um,
sense.
and it's so like, because if it's like truly, it's like, come on, how good was Sally Hawkins? And don't bring her back. Like
Yeah,
this dog,
yeah. That was another thing that put that one to bring her back a little over weapons. As much as everybody loves Anna Agnes, I thought Sally Hawkins like
she was so good.
had like more to do and had like the meatier part, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and Agnes is just a lot of fun. She's just
that's
silly.
fun. That's
Like,
one where I'm like, you give her that supporting actor nomination. Why
yeah,
not?
that's like,
Have
yeah, like hell yeah, we all. That's one of those movies where one of those roles where you're just like, fuck yeah, we love Amy Madigan. Hell yeah,
yeah, yeah.
get it, Amy
And
Madigan.
it's so funny. It was I know this is not the podcast about weapons, but at that movie club I was saying about, we watched Raising Arizona, and I'm just like laughing, like the dogs chasing and the kids chasing at the end are juxtaposition the same like shots, and I'm like, oh, that was such a funny pulling weapons that like you can't
Yeah.
help but laugh. And it's
Oh yeah.
purposely funny.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Well,
but
it's a release. Like you spent the whole movie like pent
yeah,
up, and now you get your little
yeah,
like
and
you
it's
know.
literally the dogs chasing fucking HW and
Yeah.
anyway, no man, Good Boy, like I said, I'm glad we watched it. and like I was excited to talk to you about it for this reason of it's it's a better experiment. Everything involved is really good, but like a lot of these kind of movies that are gimmicky, put like a Skinamarink in that, like it's where like I guess my personal taste lie. I'm like, yeah, they're not these bangers. I'm like, yo, throw it on again. Like in a violent nature, yeah, I'll throw that on again. Like I get more out of that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get more out of that. And I think our criticism at that time was like that should have been a tighter movie that really let you forebode a while.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Good Boy is just more of it's short, but I still found myself a little too bored at some points with it.
Right. Unfortunately, like I said, it's short, but it does still feel a little bit repetitive. They maybe just need to, I don't know, maybe they come up with a couple of different beats to do. I do want to talk about the ending just a little bit as we're getting up into it. Um, when he finally, eventually Todd, our main character, does start to see the entity himself. He sees it too. Um, but this is after, like, long after the Indy has bitten him, and then like he collapses and they get separated, and Indy, that's when Indy like gets caught in the snare and brought back, and then he's outside in the doghouse. I did like the move where there's a really good sequence where the entity is like dragging him into the doghouse by the chain,
Yeah, that was
and he's
cool.
pulling away from the chain, and then he reverses and he runs full ass head into the and knocks the doghouse
Well, then
over.
you,
I really like that. I was
well,
like,
then
that was
there's,
fun, and I didn't expect it. It was a cool move.
and then at the end, there's a nice subtle touch of like the doghouse flipped up and that broken through, and
Yeah.
like that's also what leads me to be like, I don't know. I think all this stuff kind of did happen
Yeah.
because when his
Yeah,
sister
it's
finds him,
I think it's a combination. I think that because we'll go ahead and spoilers
yeah,
for
let's
Good
go
Boy,
for it.
everybody. What ends up happening is that Todd does see the entity, and the entity's about to get him, and he's tussling, and then, you know, Indy runs in and he's like kind of relieved, and he's hugging Indy, and then Indy's kind of a little being weird and jumps on the bed. And when Todd stands up to get Indy, we realize that Todd is still on the bed. And what
Hmm.
Indy is interacting with now is Todd's ghost. And if you've watched, I actually watched the movie twice. And if when you
Uh,
watch it the second time, you can pinpoint the moment where he dies and comes and then
so
becomes
when
the
is
ghost.
that?
It's when he's in bed. He's laying in
Uh,
bed while Indy before Indy comes back, and he kind of gives like a little. He does like a little like death rattle, a little
I
and
don't
then
remember
and
that.
then
There's
he
just like a
gets it's after
cough.
that it's right after that that he gets up and he sees the entity coming in,
Okay.
and that's when it like reaches out and grabs him and stuff and all that. So that's why, because of that, and also we get a similar thing where Indy finds the chair that the dad died in,
Yes.
and the entity comes up from behind him. Then I think there's a combination of things going on here. I think that the entity is the personification of the impending death of
Mm.
Todd. And maybe it is fused with some kind of like ghostly, I mean, so many people have died in this house that now it is like strong enough that it kind of represents in this way that like dogs and animals can pick it up. Because I think it's pretty clear that that's the whole thing is he's dying. This thing is following him around. Indy can see it. Todd can't see it. He doesn't know, but Indy knows. This thing is going to get him eventually.
Hmm.
And it's this sickness, this death. To me, that's like, especially on the second watch, I think it really fell into place in that element of it. Um, but again, I do think that makes some part of it when there's interactions with the entity a little more confusing, So I don't
Yeah,
know.
it does blur the
I'd
lines,
be
but
interested, I
like,
guess, to see what the filmmakers say about it. But I feel like that's the idea: is that like Todd is dying, Indy can see this thing creeping up on him. It's like closing
and
in.
dogs have senses of thing. I mean, they literally
And
say
she
that
even
they're,
and again in
yeah.
one of Vera's exposition dumps, she makes mention of the same thing. Is he staring at nothing? Is he? Dogs can pick up on things. They know when people are sick. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
She does.
No,
They do drop that into the movie, and usually they wouldn't bother
I
if
wish
that wasn't part of it.
I usually, it's so funny. I'm so out of practice. I usually do watch our movies twice for that reason to pick up on.
Mhm.
This would have been an
I'd
easy.
actually watched it a couple weeks ago. I think
Oh,
I watched
okay.
it right before I mentioned it to you.
Gotcha.
Um,
I this 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 would have been an
and
easy
that's
one to
why,
hit
'cause I
twice
thought it
though.
was a good like comeback watch.
Yeah. Not. Yeah, I've kind of like I don't mean to be boring about it. I kind of said all I could say about Good Boy.
No, no, there's not. Like I said, I just wanted to get to the ending and talk about, like I said, what I
Oh,
thought was
ass-
kind of the vibe and
I
what
like
they.
your
I don't.
assessment.
They do have. I did want to say, like I said, for all the people out there who searched to make sure this they didn't kill the dog in this movie, they didn't, but they did have a dead dog in this
Yes,
movie.
and it's disturbing to see a dog skeleton.
It's like a desiccated, like mummified dog,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
And
like
it's
kind
and
of
unfortunately, it's also a dog we see alive, so like it's sad too. Like they do find so
that dog
again,
died with that owner
I feel like
rotted.
the guy knew he couldn't kill off a dog in his movie, but he also felt like he needed to like kind of hit that dead dog note in
And
his movie.
give a fake out to
Yeah,
because I actually thought that the sister when she finds it at the end, I did feel bad of like her first thought is, oh no,
right.
poor Indy, because obviously she'd be more concerned about her dead brother over the dog, but then it's okay, at least there's something left alive in this house
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Indy's also trapped in the basement
Mhm. So
and
it's very much well. That's what I thought. Like the movie almost sets you up for a Futurama style moment where the dog just sits there and dies of loneliness because his master's gone. They almost get there. Um, but I did. But we
can't
do
do
get our
that.
Vera comes and Indy gets to go home. I did like though that like he did basically try to drag the ghost of his master back to to the land of the
He's
living, to the realm,
Hey
and then he
man,
basically had to tell him that no, I can't stay, you can't come with me, and he told him he was a good boy, which is what
he's a
every
good
dog wants to
boy.
hear.
He's a
I know,
good boy.
as corny as it is, when he told Indy he was a good boy, I I got a little, you know what I mean? I got a little warm spot in my heart. I
You
was
were
like,
like,
that's so good. He is a good boy.
he really is. He deserves
Yeah.
his medals.
And yeah, whether he's an actor, hey, the dog in Prey wasn't an actor either, but he kicked ass and he should have got some awards too.
Hey
So
man,
I'm up
Prey was
for it.
great. I meant to say that earlier about Badlands was fun as shit
Predator
too.
Badlands is a blast.
Um
Definitely more of a sci-fi action vibe.
yeah,
It's
that's
not really a horror
oh,
movie,
let's be real. Has any Predator ever been a horror movie? Maybe since
Only
the
the
first
first
one.
one.
Yeah.
Only the first one.
But dude, yeah, no, I'm glad we talked about it. As
Yeah,
I
I mean, I
shared,
would definitely recommend it,
I'd
for
recommend
especially if
it.
you're a horror aficionado. I would definitely check this one out.
It's an easy hour
Oh
and
yeah,
it's
such
an
a
easy
breezy
hour and
watch.
change to hang and watch and that's it. I would say the big thing about it is though it's very much like all movies, but it's very much a sit down, put the phone away, pay attention. The
Oh,
movie
definitely.
requires
You're
your
going to get a lot more
focus.
out of it if you're actually watching it.
Your movie requires
And I would
focus.
recommend Presence in the same way, especially if like you like Good Boy, but you want something a little more substantive.
Yeah, I got to
Um,
revisit Presence.
I think it was pretty decent.
Yeah. It that's what Soderbergh too, which is fun.
Yeah.
He's always doing experiments.
Right, but that's the thing. That's the kind of thing I like about Soderbergh is like he's a big director who still just like just does weird stuff when he feels. You know what I mean? I like
Yeah,
that.
because I absolutely love. I was going through my talking about lists earlier. I was like, I've seen enough of 25. I'll
Because I
make a
watched
top.
Black Bag too. That was him this year too,
I was
right?
saying, I said, I'll make a top 10 of this year. And I was going through my letterbox, what I watched. And I was like, oh yeah, Black Bag. And I put that like in my top 10 because I was like, nah, that was great. I loved it. I just saw it like it came out like in January of this
Oh
year.
yeah, it
It
was like
was
a
like,
a brand new movie, right at the
um,
top of the year.
but all right, I'm gonna wrap this up though because now we're just talking about movies.
It's getting late, and as much as I do love to talk movies, some people got to work in the morning. Not
That's
me,
true.
but
Some
some
people
people.
gotta vacuum up some more water.
Some people got to dry their basements.
Yes, which I'm gonna go check on. No, all right, everybody. This is great. I'm glad to be back, Brian.
I'm glad we're back. I hope there's some fans that are happy we're back.
There will
I
be.
gotta believe that there's people who quietly watch.
There will be. In 2026, we'll bring back guests that aren't just Yusuf.
We're gonna bring it. We're gonna do
We're
this
gonna
thing.
do this again. We're gonna do it right. And with that, stay frightful, everyone.
We love you.
We do. Bye.